What's going on, guys? So it's been 1 year since I've owned solar panels, and I want to do a 1 year review of terms of what my bill is, for the last year of solar panels compared to the previous year where I didn't have solar panels. So I've been tracking this on an Excel sheet, so kind of bear with me and I kind of go over what is what. So the first portion here is 2021's bill in terms of usage and how much it costs for me average a month for my electricity usage and what I was paying per kilowatt, which was around 9 cents a kilowatt at the time. And obviously, every couple years or every year or so, it goes up in price in terms of cost for energy. Now, with 2022, I ended up signing with a new company, renewing basically the contract and having to go with a different company because the previous company I had doesn't do like solar buyback. So you have to kind of go out and look for one. And obviously, what's going on with inflation and whatnot, energy cost has gone up. So if you look here, it's gone up almost 4 cents. It's a lot more than what it was in 2021. 4 cents more per kilowatt. So yeah, so that was 2022's energy cost. I want to note this real quick, but for the first 2 months of 2022, I didn't have solar. I got solar installed like at the end of February, so it was only like a couple days. So really, March was my first um, month that had like a full month of solar. So there's a bunch of numbers, but really you need to pay attention here. So what it came out to be with solar in terms of my bill cost was $41.75 a month versus my 330 from not having solar. And you're looking at this and you're like, yeah, I save like almost like $90, which is awesome a month, and equivalent to saving basically a little over $1,000, for the whole year with having solar. Also, another thing to note was last year's usage went up a lot, almost 150. So when I was looking at the usage for our previous couple years, we had average around like 1,400 every month. Didn't really account the usage of that much more in terms of electricity, just because of the heat. We had heat waves all of last year, and then on top, with the AC having to run, and then also, with having a kid recently, I did keep the house a few degrees cooler than normal, and then also, having the heat turn on a little bit earlier than normal versus, if it was just, my wife and I, we would just be like, whatever, just have the fan on. But with, kid, we just want to, make sure that, our kid is a little bit more comfortable. So, didn't really take that in count, to be honest. So if, looking at it back now, I couldn't probably say that the heat wave thing was an issue because, like, to be honest, like one or 2 degrees isn't that much of a difference. With the usage going up that much, just kind of show you guys here. So this usage here gone up 150 kilowatt average a month. This is what the rate would have been at 9 cents if you did it at the current rate. Um, it would have been $95 instead of the $35, so $60 more. So that's pretty high. So even with the usage going up and the cost going up, it still ended up only costing me $41 average a month for the whole year. So which is amazing, to be honest. And then since we're still at it here, I did a column where this is at the 9 cents rate, this is at the 13 cents rate, and as you can see, prices are definitely much higher. At a low rate, if you're getting your electricity really, really cheap at a low rate, solar wouldn't make sense for you in terms of ROI. So I'll just show you, for example, the math if you guys are interested in it. So like if you guys are living in a state or a place where you're getting like 9 cents or less kilowatt, even if you're using so much electricity, you got to use a lot of electricity in terms of to get to pay off your solar panels. But let's say after all the bills or whatever, that the difference that you have to pay, or let's say you pay 100% or whatever, in terms of my case, yeah, I'll show you here. So at $1,000, $1,042 is what I saved for the whole year. 15. Most of the times, the solar companies will tell you like, hey, your ROI will be like 15 years, right? So that means you have to pay, $15,000 or $16,000 less for your solar panels in order to make this even possible. And solar panels right now are not 15,000; they're like $40,000 to $50,000. So you're looking at a a difference of 35,000 potentially in the whole. What of course this is before the rebate. So let's say you know you do your 30% rebate, it's 15,000, right? So it's at 35,000. 35,000. You're looking at 20,000. You're still paying up front for solar panels after 15 years. So that's something to consider looking into when you're looking at solar. If you have a really low rate, which we kind of did, but it was going up, and it's actually a lot higher now at 13 cents. Is like a really cheap rate. I think right now it's at like 16 cents for us. So it's even higher than this. So like at our current rate, um, at our current rate here at 15 years, this would basically pay off, my solar panels, because that's what I paid for after, the rebate, which is around like 28,000. So I know that prices of electricity will go up. So yeah, so it'll probably the ROI will be a lot faster. If you guys are interested in getting solar, make sure you guys do the math, make sure it makes sense. If it doesn't work out in terms of numbers or whatnot, then yeah, I wouldn't do it. But in our case, it made sense because electricity costs is going up, everything's going up, and 15 years, yeah, we'll probably be in this place in the next 10 at least 10 to 15 years, for sure, and it'll probably pay itself off. And I it's one of the things I also wanted to do was to contribute for renewable energy is try to be as green as possible. When I get into a good financial position to be able to do so, and we ended up doing that just because of the insanely good federal tax rebate that they're offering right now. It's at 30%. It was at 26% last year, and then Biden had signed something off, raising it to 30% off. And then also, I think it carries 30% off this year, and then it drops to 20%, and then it drops to 26% the following year. So I wanted to also show you guys before we leave here how many trees equivalent have we planted since I've had my solar up. All right, so I'm on my Solar Edge app here, and this is the production. And it shows the graph of last year compared to this year. As you can see here, January, I didn't get solar, and then February, the last couple of days, I had solar, so that's why you have 2022 with just a little tiny bar. But here's 2023, and we kind of project like that's what it would have made the previous years, because weather is pretty much the same. So that's what we're looking at. And down here, this is how much CO2 emissions that we've saved and how many trees we've planted. 204 trees basically every year, which is kind of awesome. So, you times that by 15. Every little bit that you can save in terms of CO2 emissions, yeah, I think that's a great benefit, towards the earth. And it's something that we should strive for. And probably our next go will probably get in some sort of hybrid or some sort of electric car next. Also last year, after we had installed our solar panels, decided to get a backup battery just because we frequently lose electricity in my area, and it's just a really pain in the butt, especially if you have like fish tanks or something that depends on electricity. Also with a kid, you're not being able to make milk and whatnot. It's just really frustrating and a headache. So decided to get that for the whole house, plus some of our little animals that we have here, and um, it's been super helpful because the backup battery did kick in a couple of times beginning of this year or last year. Also wanted to note that people who are looking to get solar, that your solar panels, let's say you lose powers to the grid, it won't actually power your house even during the daylight without some sort of place to store it, like a backup battery to store it. Just because the way that they wire it is they cut off the source so that you're not feeding electricity back to the grid if someone's working on the line, they don't want to get electrocuted. So that's the way they have it designed for safety. And so if you want to utilize your solar panels to its full capacity, having a backup battery is almost necessary, even if it's a small one, because the way it works is, for example, let's say like um, the sun's out and then all of a sudden like a cloud comes across the solar panels and then you drop in terms of usage. You won't be kind of utilizing that small portion, whether it's a few minutes, for whether it's a few hours, for a while. But if you have a backup battery, what you can have it do is like kick on um, during that small period or that time period, and it will draw from the battery um, until the clouds are gone or whatever, and then it can charge up the battery again. Because really, where you're losing money is where you're trying to buy back from the electric company. Even if the company gives you a 1-to-1 buyback, they're giving you at the rate that you would pay the company for the electricity, like what you're buying. But what people don't account for is you're paying also like this electricity usage, like line usage, right? But okay, let's just, for example, let's say you're paying a rate of 13 cents. It's 13 cents is what you're paying for, but really what the electricity company is giving you the rate as like at 8 cents or 9 cents, and then there's like a 3 cents charge per kilowatt for transferring that electricity usage through their lines to you, and that one doesn't get paid back to you if you're paying, if you're giving your energy back to the grid and doing like a buyback plan. Um, and that's what I noticed in mine. Is like even though it's a 1-to-1 buyback, it's 1-to-1 what the rate is, what the company is actually paying themselves or what they would be offering to the customer. That's what I've noticed even with 1-to-1 buyback is that you're not getting your full rate. You're not getting your 13 cents. You're getting the rate that the wholesale rate price and not the electricity through the wire price as well, right? So um, that's one thing that you'll want to kind of note is that to fully utilize your solar panels, basically have to have a battery to fully utilize it to its full potential. And a battery is not cheap, by the way. It's like almost like half the cost of your solar panels. And there's really no ROI for the battery. Like there's literally zero ROI. It's like peace of mind is what you're buying for in terms of like electricity. So that's something to consider too. Is it worth it? Yes, to me, just because the area I'm at, a lot of sunlight, frequent drops in electricity, grid, and then also the price of electricity is going up every year, pretty much like almost like a cent or half a cent every year. So it's going up in price. So definitely worth it for me. For you guys, it might not be. You guys might be getting really really cheap electricity, and that's great. Um, as long as it stays that way, and if you're not using electricity a lot, then you probably it's probably not worth it for you to get solar. I just want to show you what you guys could potentially save if you went with solar, and then really the breakdown costs and the ROI of the system. So if you have any questions, leave in the comments below. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. And like always, thanks guys. Peace.